As someone that has been married and divorced 3 times, I'm going to let you know right now that the switch up is absolutely real. You are not imagining things, okay? There are a few breaking points, if you will, where men will switch up in a relationship, and I'm going to give you a list of them. Number one, when you become exclusive. That period of time when you cut off all of your other prospects, the men that you are dating or entertaining, and no, I'm not talking about sex for you men in the back. I'm talking about getting to know people, and now you decide that you're going to be exclusive with this one person. It is not uncommon for them to then switch up. Once where they were trying their hardest, they're spending time with you, they're bringing flowers and stuff. Now he's got you and he doesn't have to worry about that. So that's a very common point that they will switch up. Next one is when you move in or if you move location. So like cross the country to be with a man. Now you're in his house. Now you are isolated from your friends and from your family or from your roommates. And sometimes if an abuser is going to start abusing you, it could happen at that point. The next one, a lot of us know all too well, and that's when you become pregnant. Sometimes it takes you to become pregnant for you to see the real side of somebody come out. Now he sees you as damaged goods and he can do whatever he wants to you because in his mind, nobody else is going to want you in this condition. Now he can drop the mask and he thinks that you can't get away or get anywhere. The next one is marriage. Now he's got you locked down, sis. You got his last name. You're legally bound to him. He thinks he's in control. Mix that legal paperwork with that Christianity mindset of, I'm the leader of the family. You must do what I say and all those traditional roles. And that switch up can be real severe. Another point where that mask can fall off is if it's not when you're pregnant, when you actually have that child. Now all of a sudden he's not coming home and he's not, participating in the everyday rigors of raising that child, changing any diapers. He's left you to do it all, sis. He went from once a very helpful man to now you're feeling like a single mom in your own relationship or in your own marriage. And lastly, if you lose your income, this can also coincide with, having a baby or becoming pregnant. Now his mask has dropped and he's turned controlling because he thinks that you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything for yourself, and you have to ask him for money. Stay vigilant, ladies, and be prepared to leave at any point of time that they switch up on you.
Your husband. Stop trying to save him. Stop trying to fix him. Stop coddling him. Stop.
So I made a video a little while back kind of talking about the same thing, kind of holding back and not being the lead mentally, emotionally in my relationship. And what I found that is when I stopped doing that, I don't really have much of a relationship left. And it made me realize about how much mothering and nurturing my husband and taking the lead mentally and emotionally in our relationship was really the glue that's kept us together. It's the foundation of our entire relationship. And when I'm not doing that, there isn't really much else there. I really thought that I was doing what women were supposed to do. Women are better at emotions and feelings, men aren't. And so it just seemed natural and right to me for me to take the lead there. I thought it was the loving thing to do, and I thought it was what a wife is supposed to do. But I also thought in doing that my husband would see that, and then he would in turn give me back whatever it is I needed. It did not work out that way. It's very, very hard to try to change the dynamic in a relationship when, again, you're the only person trying to make that change happen. Honestly, I feel like it's going to be the end of the relationship, really. That's really been hard to accept, and it's like a process for me to try to accept that and understand it. I'm still trying to learn how to prioritize myself, put myself first, take care of myself. I do feel good about that, but I don't feel good about what it means for my marriage. And that is something that I'm still going to have to work through. And to be honest, I'm really afraid. It sucks to think that you taking care of yourself means losing the people. It could mean losing the people that you care about. And it's just really tough.
You want to know why guys aren't the ones that are filing for divorce? Because They're going to work, they're coming home, they're doing whatever the hell they want. They're still playing their video games, they're still watching their football, they're still going out and seeing their friends, and all the other responsibilities, they're passing off to their wife. Is that them sacrificing their happiness? No way. It's called sacrificing or shirking their responsibilities. The wives are sucking it all up.
This is my scolding hot take, and you're either going to be ready to hear this or you're not going to be. Women historically have been slaves. I understand there's different forms of slavery, but women, in the true definition of the word, have been enslaved. Marriage was the act of making women property. Marriage was the way of exchanging women as property. Marriage was the property transfer of a woman between her father and her husband. Regardless of how you feel about it, that's the fact. That was the origination, the original purpose of marriage as a construct. The reason why you see divorce rates rise is because women finally have agency over whether or not we stay in these marriages. The reason why you're seeing marriage rates and birth rates decline is because for the first time in human history, women have had more agency than we've ever had on whether or not we get married in the first place and whether or not we decide to have children. There is a reason why women have been socially conditioned into believing that if we don't have children, or if we're not married, or a man didn't choose us, that's like the biggest insult to our identity or our value as human beings. I personally disagree with the entire construct of marriage. I believe that marriage signifies the ownership of women, and I disagree with it as a concept as a whole. And if you're not new to my page, you know that I have no intention of ever getting married. I relish in the idea of being single. I do not want to have any children. And I relish in the idea that for the first time, I'm one of the first generations of women who have the freedom to not participate in any of those things. So to me, not only is it not an insult to my identity and does not dictate my worthiness as a human being, it is a privilege that I get to choose not to get married. It is a privilege that I get to choose not to have children. And I believe that as a woman, you should avoid getting married. You should avoid having children. I think if you are even remotely on the fence about any of those concepts, you need to avoid it. Marriage benefits men, and having children benefits the patriarchy. I'm not saying that no one should have children, or that's where it gets kind of like muddy. Like, I think that marriage does have protections for women who do want to have children, or for women who are with a partner who's great. There are legal protections around that marriage works in favor for. But as a general concept, I think marriage represents the enslavement of women. I think marriage represents, and this is just the way it is. This isn't my opinion. This is what it's been historically. Marriage represents the ownership of property that is women. Marriage is a huge deal, and especially as a woman, if you are at all on the fence about getting married, you need to not get married. Fuck the soft life shit. Fuck the not doing anything with your life. Fuck not making your own money. You need to make your own money. That is a privilege. That is a blessing that you live in a time where you can make your own money and you can make something out of your own life. Do not trade this privilege that women have fought for a G-Wagon or for trips to Erewhon. You are worth so much more than that. Your life is worth so much more than that. You live in a time unlike any other in human history. There are women before you who would have given anything to be able to have the opportunities that you have today. They would have given anything. If you marry a rich man, your life will be controlled by him. Your quality of life is going to be dictated by that man. Your relationship may look a certain way today, but it could be very different 10 years from now. It could be very different after you have 4 of his children. It's not worth the Chanel bags. It's not worth the Cartier bracelets. It's not worth the fancy vacations. This is your one life. This is your independence. This is your autonomy. Please just think very long and hard before you enter these contracts, because getting out of marriage, going through a divorce, is a fucking grueling process. Co-parenting with somebody who is being difficult, who is trying to control you, is a all-consuming process. You need to really understand what you're signing up for when you do that. This is not something that you do unless you are absolutely sure. Again, it's super nuanced, and there are legal protections that work in women's favor when it comes to marriage. But if I were to give you any kind of advice, avoid getting married, make your own money, do your own thing with your life. Do not put all your eggs in the basket of a man. Because once you get married and once you have those children, everything is different. You do not have that same freedom anymore. You will not have that same opportunity anymore. You can still make it happen. And there are women who their children are like the best thing. It's like, I totally understand. I respect that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's going to be very hard and it's going to be very different. Being single and childless is a fucking flex. Okay? It is. It's much better than being in a grueling divorce, being in an unhappy marriage, being controlled by a man, or having to co-parent with someone who's fucking crazy. Please just take this seriously. Okay?